Good morning, Mr. Witness. Welcome. Please sit down. Mr. Witness, it is a matter of routine to always remind you of the oath you took. You're still under oath.
Good morning, Mr. Sanya.
Good morning.
We are happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Counsel, can we proceed, please?
Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson, Commissioners. Good morning, Mr. Sanya. Yesterday, we've gone through the GPPA file KMC 1 of 2020, Volume 1. And today, I'd like us to go through KMC 1 of 2020, Volume 2. I have the Assistant Registrar pass the file to you. So yesterday, before we closed, we saw that KMC had sent Form 100 and supporting documents to retender the procurement for the digital revenue collection project. And they had sent a form in January, or they had sent a signed form, a form that was signed in January 2021. So I refer you to Form 005 in this file, which is signed by the chairperson on behalf of the Contracts Committee on the 3rd of February 2021.
Form 005 in this submission?
Yes, in this submission. Do you require assistance?
Yes, because I'm trying to see where this form is, but
That's fine.
maybe if she can, like next time, she can put something like this, just like this, make it easier.
Have you seen the form?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a record of request for proposal. Is that correct?
Yes.
And they have said that the estimated value of the procurement is not available, where it is stated, will the procurement be subject to international competitive tendering? They have said no. Is that right?
Yes.
And where it says expression of interest, will expression of interest be invited? They have said no as well. And it's been signed by the chairperson on behalf of the Contracts Committee on the 3rd of February 2021. Now, this is a new form. Is that correct? It's not the one that was sent in January 2021.
Correct.
And this was after the letters about the letters about the advice given by Paul Mendy came up. You remember yesterday we had a conversation about the advice that was given to GPPA, sorry, to KMC by GPPA, etc.
Yes.
So they did a new form, which is this one. Now, other than the first page of that form, did they complete any other portion?
Whether they completed any
other portion of the form?
No. This is the only portion, the first page, that was completed.
Sorry, could you speak into the mic, please? I can't hear you.
As per the submission before me, is only the first page, which is completed and signed.
And are they required to complete any other portion of the form?
At this stage, this is the only form that is needed.
Okay, so do they...
Mr. Sanyan, that is not what Council is asking. Council, can you please repeat the question because you did not answer the question?
I asked if they are required to fill any other portion of the form.
Yeah.
At this stage of this procurement, the first page that was completed is the only portion that should be completed.
So do they not need to provide grounds and circumstances to justify their choice of selection procedure? On the column A4.
Column
A4 on that same page, which is proposed selection procedure, and it says provide grounds and circumstances relied on to justify choice of selection procedure. Does that portion not need to be completed?
Yes, that portion should be completed, but not completed. But the form is signed, assuming that they have completed the form, but it's wrongly done because that portion needs some information.
And why is that portion, why is it important that that portion be completed?
This is the portion where the procuring organization will justify for the use of the procurement method that they have chosen.
And are you able to tell from this form whether the RFP will be open tender or will be restricted tender?
The form is 005, which is a request for a reporting form for a request for proposal.
So are you saying that you can tell from the form whether it will be restricted tender or open tender? Because remember, yesterday they had applied for restricted tender, and this form that they have now sent is RFP. Are you able to tell?
By looking at the form alone, which is the only reporting form for request for proposal, then one can simply deduce that their intention is to use request for proposal because the form is for...
No, I know it's request for proposal, but you're saying one can deduce that it will be open. As in it will be open to any bidder rather than restricted.
By looking at this
By
form,
looking at the form.
you can know that it is request for proposal because the form is request for proposal.
Very well.
Yes, Council, may I ask,
Yes.
Mr. Sanyang, if you look at the second paragraph, the first paragraph actually, which says estimated value of the procurement, GPP are 14.1. Do you think, and it indicated that attached completed GPPA form 100 procurement requisition. Was this attached?
If I can confirm, the submission is before me. Let me confirm whether the submission includes form 100.
Yes, and it can be noted also that the form is specific in the sense that it has made reference to the regulation 14.1.
Correct.
Yes, and 14.1 is subject to 13. Subject to the saying is subject to 13 subsection 3 of the Act. If you look at what section 14 of the regulation is saying, it is advising you to provide a lot of information attached to this form 005. Can you please check the file whether this were provided for? And why is it that it is not filled in the form here?
So here we start by looking at the Gambia Public Procurement Regulation 14.
Yes. What does 14 say?
Regulation 14, procurement of common use goods and services. 1. Pursuant to section 13.3 of the Act, procuring organizations shall provide and the authorities shall collect and analyze annual data on the items purchased and the suppliers providing the items in order to take appropriate measures for coordination of procurement of common use goods and services.
Yes. So this portion of the form is also not filled. Do you know as to why it is not filled?
I don't know.
Oh. Council, you may proceed.
Sure. Secretary or Assistant Registrar, could you assist me with Assistant Registrar with one of the files from here, please? 1 of 21. 1 of 20 in brackets 1. Yeah, I think that's it. Yes. Let me show you. Chairperson, I'm just referring the witness to KMC file 1 of 2020 before proceeding with the second file.
Very well.
Now, Mr. Sanya, the document that you've been referred to is a Form 005, record of request for proposal. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in that form, they did not tick that the procurement would be subject, whether the procurement would be subject to international competitive tendering. And they also did not tick the portion about expression of interest, whether those would be invited.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Then in the column under that, they had proposed selection procedure, they had said that it's restricted tender process.
Yes.
And then they had said in the justification, council will seek technical and financial proposals in a restricted manner in order to find a partner to upgrade revenue collection system. Is that right?
Correct.
And they had floated an RFP. Is that right?
Correct.
So now, the form that I asked you to look at in the file we started with today, the 005,
Yes.
which is also record of request for proposal. Have you found the file?
Yes.
Now, I had asked you whether you're able to tell from the form whether it would be restricted tender or open tender, and you didn't give me a clear answer. Are you able to tell on this form like you're able to tell on the form that they filled in the previous file?
Now, from this form, I cannot.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sanyang, is there any difference between restricted tender and request for proposal?
Now, a restricted tender.
No, answer the question first, then you explain to me. Is there a difference between restricted tender and request for proposal?
Yes.
There is a difference?
Yes.
Okay, you can now explain.
Now, a restricted tender is a tendering process which is restricted to a few suppliers or identify suppliers or shortlisted suppliers. It's restricted to certain identified suppliers based on certain conditions that, of course, are clearly defined in the Act and the regulations. A request for proposals is more suitable for consultancy services, where service providers will be requested to send proposals based on a request by a procuring organization.
So can you see a conflict in the authority advising that they use restricted tender, and at the same time they advise that they should fill the 005 form, which is request for proposal,
Yes,
which is more open, more
Yes.
competitive.
Yes, I have seen the
You see the
yes,
conflict?
I have seen that.
They have filled one form, and they are telling us in some of the other documents that they are going to use this method, which is not compatible with what this form is asking them to do.
Yes, I have observed the conflict.
All right, thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Sanya, I refer you to Canifing Municipal Council Contracts Committee meeting dated 2nd February 2021.
Yes, 2nd February
2021. Now, the people in attendance are Senator Martin Sonko, CEO, Musaba, Abdullah Jane, Binta Janet Jalo, Nima Kamara, and Usman Gay. Under item 1 is digital revenue collection. And they have said that the chairperson informed members of her meeting with the Director General of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority to clarify issues relating to the Council's submission for the retendering of the digital revenue system. Now, yesterday we saw that it was Paul Mendy who was advising her from one of her letters.
Correct.
Now she's saying that she had a meeting with the DG, with the Director General of your institution, to clarify the issues in relation to the procurement.
Correct.
May we know who was the DG in 2021?
I think it's Salum Malang.
Yes, Salum.
Salum Malang.
Salum Mane.
Malang. M-A-L-A-N-G. Salum Malang.
Right, okay, thank you. So the minutes go on to say she posited that they were informed that the committee should have gone ahead and do the evaluation of bids before seeking for retender. She mentioned the explanation she gave during the meeting, which was the error in the specifications, and this made the committee to nullify the bids and start afresh as the contracts committee expert advised. The authorities she revealed thought Ecotech were given unfair advantage, which she confirmed to them was not the case. The chairperson stated that when the interested companies were invited to make presentation, it was only Ecotech that went further to offer the council a free trial of their software. This, she explained, was even in the best interest of council, as it would avail us the opportunity to have an insight about what we are trying to procure and place in a better position to reach an informed decision on the matter. So can I just ask, is it proper? As in, is it permissible under the GPPA legislation to have one bidder offer an extra service like giving them a free trial when it was not part of the RFP or tender documents?
It's against the principles of equal treatment, and it's not fair.
So in your opinion, would you say that this has placed Ecotech in a better position than the other bidders in terms of the possibility of getting the award?
Correct.
Okay. So it goes on to say, she reminded members of the comments made by the company, whose late submission rejected that they knew what the council is trying to source and had intended to submit a framework agreement for the consideration of the committee, since they have experience delivering such services to Brikama and Bassa Area Council. The chairperson said what they agreed upon at the meeting with GPPA was for the committee to do a fresh bidding process, but with timeline detailing the bidding period and the specifications be explicit in the new bid document to make it easy for the bidders to understand what is from them. The deputy mayor said that the chairperson's narratives were quite explicit. He went down memory lane explaining the process that led to council agreeing to Ecotech's proposal to offer them a free trial. He delved on the presentation the company did at the general council meeting and the commitments they were prepared to take to do a free trial for the council. This convinced the members of the council, thus they passed a resolution to allow them to do a trial at no cost to council. So from this paragraph, it appears that it was the general council instead of the contracts committee that passed a resolution to allow Ecotech to do a free trial for them. Is this usual for such decisions about a procurement to be made outside of the contracts committee by another body?
Actually, the law did not give any definition as to the limitations or the number of a contracts committee. the key thing about a contracts committee is those 3 members. So in this case, I'm not sure whether other members that they are referring to are co-opted as part of the contracts committee or not. If not, then it is not correct.
So let me help you understand. So in the councils, you have the general council, which is made up of the mayor, the councillors, the clerk. That's the general council. Then the general council has committees. So one of those committees is the contracts committee. You have finance committee, planning and development committee, like that. So now you have a contracts committee, which has its duties laid out by the Local Government Act and the Procurement Act. So the contracts committee are responsible for the contracts and the procurement. Now, having the decision in respect of this procurement made outside of the contracts committee by the general council, is your answer still that you're not sure?
I am not sure how and why those members were involved.
Okay,
but any participation outside a contracts committee may not be in line with what the law provides for. But then, Council, I also want to make a clarification where about this ecotech.
Okay.
Because according to the write-up, they are saying that others were also accorded the same opportunity, but only
sorry, where was that?
No, the first paragraph, because the concern is about ecotech being given preferential sort of treatment. Because
no, she said the chairperson stated that when the interested companies were invited to make presentation, it was only Ecotech that went further to offer the council a free trial of their software.
Correct. That is the clarification that I wanted to make, because I said the process may not be in line with the principles of equal treatment and so on and so forth. But from what they are saying, they are saying that others were also accorded the same opportunity to present what they didn't show. Now, if there are evidences that they were also given that opportunity to present but they failed to do so, then they are in the right. Because what the law frowns at is that unfair treatment. But if we have evidences that others were also accorded the same opportunity, evidences to show that they were also given that opportunity to present and they failed, then that selection of ecotech may be in line with what the law provides for.
Okay, thank you. So it says the chairperson said that they came to an understanding during the meeting, and if members agree to do as per GPPA's advice, the procurement manager will be given the green lights to act accordingly. Without further ado, the members unanimously agreed to the authority's advice and tasked the manager to begin the process. So they sent a letter dated the 3rd February 2021 to the Director General GPPA. Let me know when you locate the letter.
Yes.
Okay. So they've said that subsequent to the approval for the above subject matter, dated 27 January 2021, we herewith submit the modified bid document for RFP for the approval of the authority. They've talked about the specific gaps, etc. And they now said, we wish to seize this opportunity to request for the bid period to be shortened to 14 days, given the fact that the intention was to deploy this system at the beginning of the year. Now, you had said that the standard period was 30 days?
Yes.
So is the reason that they have given for the 14 days a justifiable reason for shortening the period?
Yes, I think it's justifiable. I cannot remember exactly which portion of the Act
they have said
allows a bidding period to be shortened to 14, but not less than 14 days.
So when you're asking to shorten the period, do you have to give a good reason, or you can just say, I want to shorten it to 14 days and you automatically agree?
Actually, they should have indicated the reasons why.
So they've indicated the reason. They said that it is given the fact that the intention was to deploy the system at the beginning of the year.
Yes, that the reason is given.
So that's what I'm saying. That's a good enough reason to short him.
And if you look at the letter dated 3rd February, and their intention was to have this installed by the beginning of the year. And
Yes,
according to the submissions, they are already into the year. So I think their reason, their request to shorten the bidding period may be justified.
Okay.
Because already it's February.
Mr. Sanyang, given the fact that this was a relaunch to retender this particular project, would that have given the other bidders enough time to do justice to what they need to submit to the institution?
Actually, it is based on the recommendation by the contrast committee. And we expect a contrast committee to have that expertise to be able to come with reasonable approaches, reasonable approaches to whatever they intend to do. So if those people know exactly what they want to install with justification, expecting also that they have co-opted experts to advise them. And here they think that based on what they want to buy, 14 working days will enable or will be sufficient for whoever wants to bid to prepare a bidding document and justify that. Yes, we can allow it subject to those provisions of the Act like 47 and 49, where a contrast committee is responsible for good procurement planning, identifying good procurement methods, and so on and so forth. So we take our decisions based on advice given by the contrast committee, but also to ensure that they are in tandem with what the law provides for.
Now, normally, who drafts the bidding documents? Do the POs draft the bidding documents in consultation with the authority, or the authority outlines the bidding documents and hands over the same to the POs?
Honorable Commissioner, Section 13(3) of the GPPA Act
13?
prohibits GPPA from interfering with procurement-related decisions to an extent. Section 13(2).
13(2).
Yes.
It says the authority shall have powers as are necessary to carry out its duties or which are incidental to the proper discharge of its duties.
Section 13(2).
Sub 2 says, in the exercise of its powers, the authority shall not interfere in the award of any specific procurement contract. This is talking about award. I am talking about the preparation of the bidding documents.
Now, in the preparation of the bidding document is a process leading to the award of a contract.
Yes.
So we should not interfere to dictate what a procuring organization want to do and the like, because it's a process leading. An award is, of course, the final end, but it starts somewhere. Go through processes and finally the award.
I am not convinced as to that answer, but I will take your explanation. Anyway, if you look at the same document, that is the letter written on the 3rd of February, if you look at the second paragraph, the last sentence, the last line, which says the technical specification in the bid document that was circulated to interested bidders was for good and not for services. Did you see that?
That is the letter dated 3rd February.
3rd February, yes.
And the last is?
The last line on the second paragraph.
On the second paragraph. It was clarified to us that the technical specification in the bid document that was circulated to interested bidders was for goods and not for services.
Yes. Is that the situation here? I want to find out what they were sourcing for. Were they goods or services?
Supposed to be services as per the submission.
So this may be wrong.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you. Council, you may proceed. So in circumstances, sorry, before you proceed, sorry, I'm intervening too much. In situations like this, is it not the authority's duty to really clarify to them, you know, if they are mistaking on the types?
In things like this,
Yeah.
obviously the authority should make clarifications.
All right, thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Stan, you said that it is the contracts committee that will determine whether to shorten the period for the, what was it, for the bid evaluation?
The contracts committees are the ones expected to request from GPPA approval to shorten the bidding period. Hence, the contracts committees are the ones who should determine, based on their deliberations with any technical support, expertise support.
And this would be contained in the contract committee meeting minutes?
Yes, it should be. It should be. It should feature in the contracts committee meetings.
Can you look back at the contract committee meeting minutes of 2nd February 2021 and let us know whether anything about the...
That is meeting 2/2021.
February 2nd, 2021.
Okay.
Whether they have agreed to shorten the bidding period.
Actually, the only thing that I saw that may be relative to that, but not directly, is section 1.6.
But it doesn't say anything about reducing the period. It says
yes, the chairperson said
detailing the bidding period.
Yes, to do a fresh bidding process, but with timeline. So I don't know whether we in there. I cannot say for certain.
But you haven't seen anything saying that the bidding period should be shortened?
Shortened.
Okay. So I refer you to your letter dated the 8th of February 2021. I'm also going to refer you to the form 005 again, so just bear in mind.
The letter dated
8th February 2021 from
yes,
GPPA.
8th February 2021.
Okay, so back to form 005.
Back to form
005.
Yes.
So you had agreed that you couldn't tell from the form whether it would be restricted tender or open tender.
Yes.
Okay, and the RFP would usually be for open tender?
Yes.
Okay, now the letter that you have sent, 8th February 2021, says, we refer to your letter dated 3rd February 2021, which follows our letter dated 27 January 2021 relative to the above subject matter. Having reviewed your request for approval of the request for proposals bidding documents, I hereby convey to you the authority's approval of the bidding documents and the intended procurement method, restricted tender, relative to the above captioned procurement. Additionally, approval is hereby given to shorten the bidding period to 2 weeks, 14 working days. However, please correct the inconsistency in clause 2.3 and 2.15 regarding the opening time, that is 11:45 instead of 10:30. Furthermore, please change the proposal's issue date in the letter of request for proposals to date the bidding documents will be issued to the potential bidders instead of 24th February, which is a day before the deadline of submission. Now, you have said in this letter that you're approving the bidding documents and the intended method, restricted tender. But you've agreed that the form 005 does not indicate that it is for restricted tender. Now, the letter that they have sent to you, 3rd February 2021, the one we just looked at, can you confirm that there's nothing in the letter that indicates that it's for restricted tender?
I have not seen anything that indicates that it is a restricted tender.
That was requested.
Yes, but Council, let me again make these clarifications. Now, if you look at the procurement methods as per the law, we have procurement methods, and here all the procurement methods are clearly defined. For example, you have open, restricted as a procurement method, request for quotation, single source, and request for proposal. They are all clearly mentioned there. Now, a request for proposal may not necessarily be a restricted tender as per the definition of the law. But
Please, can you explain that again?
a restricted tender,
yes.
sorry, a request for proposal may not necessarily be a restricted tender because these are different procurement methods mentioned. But what I want to clarify is, if a request for proposal, already those potential suppliers of services that you wanted are clearly known to you and they are limited. Now, instead of advertisement or opening it for competition because they are known to you, still you are requesting proposals from them, but you are restricting the competition to a few of them because they are known and they are not many. There's no need to advertise, and probably they even underwent a shortlisting sort of process, like people who must have expressed interest and the like. So in short, what I am saying is like, this is a request for proposal, but you want those potential contractors or suppliers are already identified. So it's no need to advertise, it's no need to open it and the like, because they are known, already known. Now
Mr. Sanyang,
yes.
You have already clarified the difference, and I asked you the question. I said, is there any distinction between RFP and restricted tender? You said yes. What would have stopped the authority from clearly indicating that if you are relaunching or doing a retender, why don't you use the process of restricted tender and follow that, instead of doing RFP and also now going into restricted tender? This explanation you are doing, from my understanding, is trying to link the RFP and the restricted tender process, which two are not one and the same. That is my difficulty.
I agree. It is your difficulty, and this difficulty is what I want to clarify.
Is it not also the difficulty of the PO in this instant?
Actually, from this submission here,
yes,
up to this stage, I think the PO knows what, understands what they want to do. Exactly.
All right. Fair enough.
So can I just have you clarify? It is based on the form, the contracts committee decisions, and the accompanying documents that you will make the decision to approve or not to approve. Is that right?
Yes.
So when they want to use restricted tender, they need to ask for your approval. Is that not right?
Correct.
And the approval will be based on the form, the contracts committee meeting minutes, etc. Right?
Correct.
So where they have not indicated this, how are you to know that it's supposed to be restricted tender? What are you approving?
Actually, it should have been indicated in the...
So that's my point. It should have been indicated. It wasn't. So how do you decide on a new application, new documents, new everything, even though it is the same procurement? How do you decide by yourself to make it restricted tender when they didn't apply for it?
Actually, probably it's not from a legal point of view, but from layman point of view,
Sir,
as us at the authority.
Sir, you're the custodian of the law, so you're an expert of that particular law.
That is why I want to put it to you that at this stage, the authority, even by looking at the form alone, 005, which is meant for request for proposals, we know that the request is about proposals. But then, in bracket, to be restricted, not to...
How do you know that from the documents? We're looking specifically at these documents. How do you know that from the documents?
Now, if you look at the letter, please, the letter dated 3rd February,
Yes.
2021, paragraph 2. Please note that the specific defects or gaps in the technical requirements or terms of reference in the current bid document has been improved, different from the initial bid. Now it's different from the initial bid document circulated to the members. Furthermore, it was clarified that the technical specification, now different bids from the bid. So here it means that it's a continuation of a process that has already started.
So then why file a new form?
While file a new form, well, I think for some reasons they want to make certain clarifications. I think that is why they are filing.
They have previously sent letters where they wish to make clarifications, and they send the documents that they have clarified. Why file a new form? A new form is a new application, is it not?
Yes, but you will agree with me that the other forms that we looked at, Form 005, have some gaps, areas that needed to be ticked and are not ticked. So meaning that that form may not be correct.
But that's the form you relied on.
But a fresh form is now completed that we are looking at.
And the fresh form that is completed is the one dated the 3rd of February 2021. They have said that it won't be open to international competitive tendering and no expression of interest will be invited. So the fact that no expression of interest will be invited already tells you that there's no issue of pre-qualification, no? And nothing else on that form is filled. And you have already said that you cannot tell from that form whether it's for restricted tendering or open tendering.
Now, the same form 005,
yes,
which is the one we looked at with ticks, will the procurement be subject to international competitive tendering? They said no.
Okay.
International competitive, that is to open.
That is to open internationally.
Internationally.
Okay.
And they ticked no. Meaning it is not open now.
It is not
But
open
instead,
internationally. It does not say it's not open locally.
now, even if international bidders are to be invited, but it's not open to everybody. Meaning it's going to be restricted to a few of them that have been
So
identified.
what's the form for restricted tendering?
002.
So any procurement organization that wants to do restricted tendering should fill form 002.
If it is restricted tendering,
is
as a
restricted
procurement
tendering.
method, yes.
Right. So
But this other one is request for proposals, but restricted to a certain
and it doesn't say so in the form.
But to indicate
And
that
also in the letter.
yes, but to me, to indicate that it is a tender but should not be open to international bidding, meaning that it is a request for proposal but not open to international bidding. What does that mean? Meaning that
It's not open to
it's
international
not
bidding.
open. It's not open, but it can be restricted to a
That's
certain
not what your
individual.
form says. If you wanted that to be on your form, you would have said it. Your form is specific. The question is, will this procurement be open to international competitive tendering? It doesn't say competitive tendering. So where do you get that interpretation from?
Whether the procurement is open to international open tendering, no, it is not for international open tendering, but rather it is restricted to a few who identify these things.
For us to understand this very clearly, what were they seeking the authority to approve for them? Is it not the RFP?
Yes, a request for proposals.
Yes. What is the form that you are supposed to use?
Form 005.
Form 005.
Yes.
And that is what they used.
Yes.
And how come the issue of restricted tender have to come in this instant?
It is a request for proposal, but restricted to a few suppliers. It's not a request for restricted tender as a procurement method. What it is indicating is a request for proposals, but for this it's not open for everybody because already the potential service providers are already identified. So it's restricted to only those people, but not a restricted tender as a procurement method.
Let me refer you to the file 1 of 20, volume 1, back to the form 005, that's on that one. I think that's where it's open to.
Form what?
005.
005 in this volume?
Yes.
Okay.
The one dated 22nd of October 2020. We had looked at it when you just came in.
Okay.
Now, it is correct that in that form they didn't indicate whether it would be open to international competitive tendering.
Yes, yes.
And they also did not indicate whether there would be expressions of interest.
Correct.
But where it came to proposed selection procedure, they typed in restricted tender process. And where it came to the justification, they said the council will seek technical and financial proposals in a restricted manner in order to find a partner to upgrade revenue collection system. So in that form, which is the same RFP form, they have indicated that it's restricted. If it was as you have just said, they would not have indicated it, right?
But if this form is correct, they would not have filled another form.
You gave approval for this form previously.
Yes, and along the way.
So if you had said that it didn't matter.
But
so are you saying that this form that they have completed now, the one dated the 3rd of February 2021, is a correct form?
I want to assume that they must have realized their mistakes, and that is why another form is completed. Otherwise, they would have continued using this other form.
Sir, let me just refer you to another form. Let me refer you to a form 002 in that same file, 1 of 20, which is a record of restricted tendering.
Form 002, which is the same volume.
Yes, the same volume.
Can you assist, please?
Assistant Registrar, please pass me the file.
Yes.
Have you seen the form?
Yes, yes.
So that form was filled on the 12th of January 2021, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And it is a record of restricted tendering, form 002.
Yes.
And they have said, where it says provide justification for the use of restricted tendering, making reference to particular conditions, they have said because of the urgency. Right?
Yes.
And when completed, which of these would be most appropriate to this procurement?
The last one.
Which one is that?
In this volume 2, that is the last one that we are looking at.
The one dated the 3rd of February 2021.
Yes, the one dated 3rd of February 2021.
Very well.
Now, Mrs. Sanya, can you explain why on the letter dated 8th of February 2021, there was this issue of directing KMC to correct the inconsistencies in the clauses and referring them to the opening times of the bids. That is the fourth paragraph of the
yes, the fourth paragraph.
How significant is it that or if I should put the question this way, what would you think would be the impact if there are inconsistencies in the time of opening the bid documents and the date, time and date?
It's a simple answer, because according to the law, the deadline for bid submission should be on the same day for bid opening, with a difference of only 15 to 30 minutes.
So
when they are inconsistent, it means that you are giving them different dates. Bids may be submitted at different dates. Even if it is on the same day, they could be submitted at different times. And according to the law, the deadline for bid submission should be fixed. And then bids should only be open after 15 to 30 minutes. 15 to 30 minutes after bid opening. So if the dates are inconsistent, you can have people submitting their bids at different times, and bids may be open at different times, meaning if bids are open at different times, information will leak when others are yet to submit.
So now, based on this paragraph and based on what you have seen on the file, was this anomaly or challenge corrected by the PO, that is KMC?
I have time to look at the amended bidding document and know whether it was corrected or not.
Okay. We will give you that time to check. Yes, Council.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Sanya, I refer you to the Form 013, the record of tender opening.
Form 013,
yes.
Record of tender. On which volume? In which volume?
Volume 2.
Volume 2. Yes, 013.
Okay. So this was dated. Date and time of tender opening is 25th February 2021 at 11:45 a.m. It was at the KMC office of the CEO. The name and address of the bidders were 5C Energy and TACME, Brusubi, Kayor Enterprises, Fajara, Nifty ICT Solutions, Brusubi, and Ecotech Africa. Right?
Correct.
The names of opening committee members were Senabu Martin Sonko, Usman Gay, Abdullah Jammeh, Nyima Kamara. Now, on page 7 of the bid evaluation documents.
Bid evaluation documents. Page 7.
Yes, technical evaluation, basic data.
Yes, page 7.
Okay. So under the first, second, third, fourth, at the fourth row, it says request for expression of interest, publication in national newspapers, name, date, any other, example www, number of responses. Have you seen that?
Yes, yes.
Now on the right, they said Point newspaper, Foroya. The date is 7th of February 2021. So by this, they're saying that they published a request for expression of interest on the 7th February 2021. Is that right?
Yes, as per the submission.
And it's in the Point newspaper and Foroya, from what they have said?
Yes.
Now I take you back to the form 005.
Form 0.
But I'm sure you remember, so let me just ask you. It said, where it said expression of interest, will expression of interest be invited? They said no. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So it is clear from their evaluation that that is not the case. They had actually published an expression of interest.
Correct.
And the expression of interest was published on the 7th of February 2021, which is one day before you gave approval for the request to retender the digital revenue collection project.
You said that is one day before.
One day before you gave approval. Your approval letter is 8th February 2021. Can you confirm?
Yes, yes.
That's the case. So that means that they went ahead with an EOI that they didn't disclose and never got approval for.
Correct. That
Okay.
is what I'm from
Now
the
the
submission.
Okay. The shortlisted companies were Ecotech, 5C Energy, KR, and Nifty ICT Solutions. Right?
Yes.
So at page 8, they have said there was no pre-proposal conference held. Are you at page 8?
Yes, I am on page 8.
Okay, so they said pre-proposal conference held, no. Minutes issued, yes. 2 or 1 envelopes, they have indicated 2 envelopes, technical and financial proposal. Is that right?
Yes, that is what is been ticked,
Okay.
indicated.
So at page 10, they have put the technical scores by the consultants, and these are based on relevant experience, technical equipment, work plan, I'm assuming that's work plan, robust real-time software platform, ability to operate on and offline payment mode, tracking fleet control system, provision of trainings to KMC staff, provision of free trial on revenue collection, price cost proposal. So they've put the 3 companies, Ecotech, 5C Energy, and KR. And Ecotech was given a technical score of 89.6. Is that right?
Yes.
5C Energy was given a score of 79.6. Can you confirm?
Yes, correct.
KR was given a score of 64.8.
Correct.
Okay. Now, on page 15, you have the financial evaluation report and award recommendations. Well, that's where it starts. So again, they've listed the 3 companies, Ecotech, 5C Energy, and KR. On page 16, column D, you have the technical, financial, and final scores. And Ecotech has a final score of 87.35. 5C Energy has a final score of 79.3. And KR has no final score because there's nothing under the financial score. Can you confirm?
Yes.
Page 18. For conclusion, they have said the evaluation committee will conclude after preparing an executive summary report and giving its appreciation as to the extent the proposals received have met the requirements as specified in the RFP. The evaluation committee may highlight on weaknesses in the RFP and the reasons for disparities between the procurement estimates and the financial proposals received where applicable. and where the chairperson should sign and put their name and date, that portion was not signed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Page 20 was signed. Can you tell us what's on page 19? Was there a recommendation for award?
On page
19.
19, there is a table
Okay.
where individual evaluators are supposed to indicate their scores
Okay.
for the various suppliers or contractors. But then it's not completed. It's not completed.
Okay. Is any part of that form completed? Page 19.
No.
So they signed, all the members of the evaluation team have signed, dated 26 February 2021, as has the CEO, Senabu Martin Sonko. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Musa.
So, I refer you to the KMC meeting minutes of 25th February 2021.
25th.
Let me know if you require assistance.
Yes, I.
Registrar? Please assist with the file.
Before the file is handed over to you, Mr. Sanya, is it the normal practice if a tender is opened, can you adjourn for evaluation of the tender, or is it a requirement for you to do the evaluation there and then?
It's not mandatory that when bids are open, the evaluation should take place at the same time, on the same day. No.
Okay.
Okay. So we are looking at the 25th. Yes.
25th February 2021.
Okay.
And those present are Senabu Martin Sonko, Abdullah Jammeh, Abdullah Kebe Binta Jane Jalo, Nyema Kamara, and Usman Gay. Now the agenda item 1 is the bid opening for the digital revenue. And they have said that the first bid open was that of Ecotech, who submitted a financial, technical, and catalog of their proposed solution and devices. They proposed to increase the revenue collection of the council by 100% by 2022. Nifty ICT Solution only submitted a letter stating their reasons for not being able to submit a tender, as they found the information in the bid document was not very clear to them. The chairperson asked them why they did not refer to the committee to seek any clarification as provided for in the bid document. They replied they had sent an email to the KMC IT manager to explain why they failed to submit a bid and requested for additional time to submit a proposal. Thereafter, the chairperson informed them that the IT manager is not a member of the contracts committee and she's afraid the committee cannot do anything in that regard at this juncture. KR Enterprises submitted a financial and operational proposal. Also submitted was the list of their experts and the machinery they use. The financial proposal indicated a revenue sharing proposal. 5C Energy Company submitted a financial proposal, technical proposal, and audited accounts of the company. Indicated in the proposal is the profile and expertise of the company. The revenue sharing offers begins with 50-50 ratio, with percentage decreases in favor of the council. At this juncture, the chairperson invited comments from the observers, and the GPPA representative commented that he observed in the bid document 11:45 a.m. was the time stipulated for the bid opening, but the bid opening commenced at 12 noon, and the importance of sticking to the time. He also observed that there is no tender box. Can you tell us what the implications of these lapses are?
Now, like I said earlier, the deadline for bid submission should be clearly indicated and should be respected. That is when the bids are supposed to be submitted. And by law, any bid that comes late, even a minute, should not be accepted. So all bidders should go by that. And a tender box, procuring organizations are all mandated to have a tender box, so that in a bidding process, bids will not be hand-delivered to individual. This is all meant to avoid direct contact of different stakeholders, like the contractor and the procuring organization. But in this case, as per the report, these are some of the observations made by the GPPA rep at the tender opening.
1.8 goes, the chairperson apologized for the time lapse but made it clear that the committee ensured that all bids were submitted in the morning of bid opening. She also informed them that the lack of a tender, I'm assuming tender box, was realized by the committee, and the procurement manager has already been tasked to procure a tender box for the council accordingly. The rep from 5C observed that in the specifications, it is stated that tech company should guarantee 100% increase in the revenue collection of the council, which he said was a strong word as no feasibility studies was done. He said instead they preferred the word support. The chairperson said some of the issues will be delved into during the evaluation and negotiations. Without further questions from the bidders were informed that the evaluation will be done on Friday, 26 February 2021, and the bid opening was declared closed. Can you tell us whether it is feasible for the procuring organizations to obtain the best value for money in projects such as this one, where they haven't first conducted a feasibility study?
It's going to be very difficult. Like I said earlier, contrast committees are supposed to have that expertise to be able to determine that. So projects may differ. What is applicable or obtainable in one project may be different from another one. So probably they can have experts that can determine that, even though a feasibility study was not conducted. The authority cannot be in a position to advise whether there is going to be value for money or not.
Okay. Let me refer you to the KMC Contracts Committee meeting of 26 February 2021. And the people present are Senabu Martin Sonko, Abdullah Jammeh Musaba, Abdullah Kebe, Binta Jane Jalo, Nima Kamara, Dr. Aliu Keta, Lamin Sanyang, and Usman Gay. The agenda item 1 was digital revenue collection system, and it's the bid evaluation. They have said that the committee commenced the evaluation with Ecotech's bid. The proposal entailed a detailed technical specification and functionality of their system that they intend to deploy for an efficient and responsive automated revenue collection system. Their bids also include commissions, fees, and charges in which they charge 2% for monthly recurrent overheads and propose a sharing mode of 40-60, Ecotech and KMC respectively, for any increase in the revenue above the baseline amount prior to the commencement of contract. Ecotech proposes 100% financing of the project, including all devices, equipments, and machinery, plus the revenue software intended to be used in all areas of revenue collection, such as waste, markets, property rates, rent, and license fees. The company expects to increase the current collection to 60% baseline revenue in 6 months period and 100% increase after 1 year of operations. They also offer a bonus of 12.5% to collectors and 5% to agents collectors as per Council's regulations in their proposal. This is geared towards reducing fraud and other loopholes. The bid also states a pricing strategy geared toward not adding overheads to the citizens. On the company's technical proposal, the overview, knowledge, expertise, and capabilities of the company was captured on page 2 of the proposal. The company's system is cloud-based, making it accessible from anywhere, which eliminates the use of servers. It is also mentioned that the Council shall have control on permission rights to define and limit system users as and when necessary. Their system comes with maximum security and encryption standards with a fully responsive dashboard for different revenue streams of the Council. So also available in the proposal is a GIS tracking of waste collection trucks and a system to restore routes of drivers of vehicles. This will ensure real-time tracking of the entire fleet from the command center and breakdowns quickly detected. So 1.16, so they've gone ahead and listed some more things. 1.16 says, members, having gone through the Ecotech proposal, were in agreement that the company met the requirements and have offered additional solutions. Thereafter, the proposals of 5C were also evaluated. The company gave a profile of TACME, a leading technology service provider delivering business solutions to its clients. TACME, according to 5C, provides total IT solutions to businesses across the Middle East. It started in Dubai with the e-government initiative and is a subsidiary to Mewarid Technology. The proposal detailed the financial capacity of TACME and its ability to offer BOT and PPP initiatives. Their financial offer gave options of revenue sharing, PPP, where in the first and second year the revenue sharing would be 50-50, third and fourth year 45-55 to 5C and KMC respectively, fifth and sixth years 40-60 to 5C and KMC respectively, seventh and eighth year 35-65 to 5C and KMC respectively, and 9th and 10th year 30 to 70% 5C and KMC respectively. 5C provided Brikama Area Council as reference since they are providing them with a revenue management solution. They made reference of their Saka, Grand Yoff, and another municipality partnership in which they have met some of the requirements. On the technical proposal, 5C through TACME will deliver a revenue management solution which is powerful, customized, and easy to use solution. Their own would do tax categories with full description, define different ways of calculation, etc. Members having gone through the 5C proposals were in agreement that the company met the requirements. The next bid evaluated was that of KEO. The technical proposal detailed a partnership to design, develop, and deploy a digital software application to automate the market canteen revenue collection process. It stated assessment and planning, system analysis, and requirements gathering, as well as implementation. However, the committee found KEO have not met the requirements as per the specifications and terms of reference of the bid document. The technical and functional specifications were mentioned on page 5. The revenue sharing proposal is pegged at 60-40, with KEO owning up the latter. Since NIFTY didn't submit a tender, the committee couldn't proceed further to look at their proposals. Members, having evaluated the bids, deemed it necessary to invite both Ecotech and 5C to do presentations on Monday, 29 February 2021 at 12 p.m. so that the members can see which of the companies has what it takes to be selected based on the requirements. Is this part of the procurement proceedings? Is it part of the process to have, looking at the fact that they've already scored the 3 different bidders in the evaluation report, they've evaluated and they've said that both of Ecotech and 5C have met the qualifications. Is it normal, or is it part of the procurement process to then invite both of them to see which company has, to do a presentation, to see which company has what it takes to be selected?
Yes, it's accepted.
It's accepted? Okay.
Mr. Sanya, can you confirm for us whether this project took off?
Whether it is?
Yes, is implemented.
Okay. Madam Chair, sorry, apart from this clarification that is needed, other assignments were also given, but then, as you can understand, we close here very early, and in most cases, when I go to the office, if I'm since on Monday, so I'll take note of it, then probably by Monday, I will look at all of them and provide you with the findings.
Okay. Fair. Thank you.
So I refer you to the Contracts Committee meeting dated 1st March 2021, which is on the presentations on digital revenue collections by 5C Energy and Ecotech. They had said in the last minutes that we just read that they were going to invite the 2 companies to come and do a presentation.
On the 1st March?
1st March 2021.
Mr. Sanya, before you proceed,
yes.
Going by what we have reviewed, what we are reviewing now, is it the process of the authority to grant approval prior to receiving the evaluation report of the Contracts Committee?
I have not gone through the submission, but that is not possible. How can approval be granted when an evaluation report is not yet to be submitted? I don't think it's not normal.
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
All right. Okay. We are going through the documents.
Okay.
We will highlight some of these anomalies.
Okay.
Thank you. Council.
Thank you. So it says presentations on digital revenue collection by 5C Energy and Ecotech. The chairperson welcomed all and reminded them.
Yes, that is supposed to be on
1st March
1st March
2021. Minutes of meeting.
I have 26th February.
So it would be after that one.
25th February.
Go further. No, further down.
And then I have 9th March.
No, go. Is that up or down? Yes, keep going that way. No, the other way.
This is 26th February.
Keep. Registrar, please assist the witness.
And okay, 1st March.
Okay. So the chairperson Went further to add that the two companies were invited to do presentations on their systems in order to enable the committee to decide which amongst the two is most responsive to the needs of the council. She went to reveal that questions have been drafted which the two companies will answer during the course of the meeting. These were as follows. One of the questions was, is your system a real-time automated revenue collection? If yes, demonstrate how it works. And they had several other questions. They also had an expert at the meeting. So 1.4 says, in his reaction, the expert advised members to be mindful of the capacity, financial support, and reliability of the system. At this juncture, Chairperson invited the representatives from 5C Energy to join the session. They were introduced to members of the committee before they also introduced themselves and gave a brief history of their company. Thereafter, they proceeded on their presentation. The committee was informed that TACME was established in 2000. Their headquarters is in Dubai and they have a partnership with the government of Dubai. They have branches in Abu Dhabi, Cairo, and Amman. Their parent company was named as Mawib. The presenter added that the company does different kinds of work, and technology, security, and banking were mentioned as top of their list. The presenter delved on their drive to fight corruption and plug loopholes where they occur. One system, they said, answers such questions is providing full digitalization of municipalities and documentary systems. Members were also told that the company works with all the municipalities in Dakar. In response to the question whether their system was a real-time automated revenue system, they answered in the positive, but claimed could not perform the demonstration because they were not briefed about that. But they can arrange another day for the demonstration. Is it usual to require them to do a demonstration if they were not previously asked to do so? Is it acceptable?
Well, to me, yes, it's acceptable.
To be asked to do a demonstration when you were not told that you were going to be required to do so?
It should have been clearly indicated, but at a point, if offers are given and the contracts committee feels that it can better make an informed decision if demonstrations are conducted, yes, they can proceed.
Yes, but where they have decided that they need demonstrations, would they not inform the people they're inviting to do a presentation that they would be required to provide a demonstration?
Yes, they should have been told that they're going to do a demonstration prior to the
inviting them,
so that they are well prepared for
what would happen if they made a decision based on demonstration when they haven't given them prior notice? Would that be fair?
No, it won't be fair.
Okay. So it says the 5C delegation informed members that they offer other programs such as trade license management, properties and land management, financial modules, powerful dashboards for tracking and decision making, comprehensive reports and administration. At this juncture, members agreed that what they were already exposed to has given them an understanding of the functionality of 5C's system. Following their presentation, the chairperson thanked them and informed them that the committee would continue the evaluation and would communicate to them in due course. Thereafter, Ecotech were also invited to do a presentation. The representatives of Ecotech, following the introduction, started their presentation with a demonstration of their system on how it works with parking fees. Do you think it is odd that one of the companies knew to do a demonstration and the other one did not?
That is what I am understanding, because if others are prepared or well prepared for demonstration and others are not, one can one can assume that equal information, the same information was not provided. Probably some of them were told that they needed a demonstration, why the others are not. But why that cannot be confirmed. It's a probability. It cannot be confirmed at this juncture.
Okay.
But at this point, is it possible for the contracts committee to give chance to the potential competitors to provide additional information or to make demonstrations or submit additional information at this point under evaluation?
Now, if demonstration as a requirement was not set forth as a requirement and others came with it and they want to consider, since it was not set forth, they could have allowed the other one also to prepare and come and demonstrate.
Which would be fair.
Exactly, yes.
Yes, but what I'm asking now is that at the level of evaluation, do you give concession or do you grant permission to bidders to submit further documents or to do any further activity outside of what?
Yes, I understand what you are talking. Now, in procurement, one should not be scored on issues that we are not provided for. Now, if I can give an example, if in a process you needed, for example, a master's degree in something, and somebody scoring having a master's degree is 25 points, for example, and somebody comes with a master's plus others, you should not give additional marks for coming up with qualifications or documents that we are not requested for. Yes, they can be considered, but should not have advantage based on extra information which was not requested for.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me. Mr. Simon, thank you. I'm trying to understand this thing, but it doesn't work the way you are telling us. We know this procurement business. There was a tender and a company tender. And there was a difference of 9 million between that company and I don't want to name the other company.
Okay.
Now, when the evaluation was done in the presence of your representative, they wrote back to the company telling that yes, your prices are competitive, your bid is responsive, you have manufacturer's authorization and everything. But we cannot give you this because you don't have no experience in bringing it to this country.
You have no experience
for this procurement. So therefore, you cannot bring in. I call it the fertilizer and the power tiller, and there was a difference of 9 million. Now, here, are we saying that those who are in the market and they have been there for long are the only ones to be considered? Because that is what we saw. That is one. The other point is, I'm not sure if you look at procurement in terms of national development. In other countries, they reserve 35% of procurement for women and youth groups. 20% goes to women companies, 15% goes to youths, and the 65% goes to others. But if you want to lump everybody in this same competition, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't have impact on the economy. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you.
Yes. So we should look at every segment of procurement in this country to regulate it properly. Something else was mentioned: the submission of bids. At some point, not you. In some cases, you would submit your bid. The reason why they make it 1 day, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you will submit your bid a day before. Somebody opens your bid. It's just in a brown envelope. Opens the bid and tell company X, his tender is 39 million. But for us, we are ready to spend 36 million. So price-wise, you see. So put in your tender and then you go to 2 million below our reserve price. So all these things are happening that you guys have to look at. Thank you.
You want clarification or? I think, Honorable, these are all good observations and suggestions. Now, if I may start with the first one, about experience, where, of course, there are differences of 9 million. I cannot know exactly the procurement that you are talking about, so on. But then, good international practices suggest that procurement must go by rules. There are rules which are clearly defined by these things. And
sorry, something I forgot. And these criteria that cause this company to be disqualified were not mentioned in the bidding process, in the bidding document. They just came after, when it was very tough, and then they added rules just to confirm that you cannot do that. Continue.
Honorable, I think you're making my answer simple now, because you are now specific. According to the law, no criteria should be used to evaluate bids that have not been set forth in the bidding document. So that the criteria that you're going to use to evaluate bids must be clearly stated. And according to you, these were not, so it was wrong. Now, coming to these preferential treatments and the like, if you look at our new provisions and the like, even the old one has mentioned, where we're trying to empower local companies. We've talked about, we have provisions for local ventures, joint venture, where even a foreign supplier or contractor coming to the Gambia is going to be mandatory that a certain percentage of Gambians are employed. It's going to be mandatory. And here we even went on to try to clarify what is meant. You have to know when a company will be termed as a Gambian company or not. All these are in process, and we work hand in glove with other stakeholders like GAIPA, like the Ministry of Trade, to have some of these clarified. In the new law, we have provisions for disadvantaged groups, women, youth, disabled, and the like is clearly provided for. And here we are working hand in glove again with the Ministry of Trade. In the first place, there must be a clear definition of what a youth enterprise is. What is a woman-owned enterprise, whether it should be owned by a woman or whether a certain percentage of the employees are women and the like. And even in the disabled, for disabled and the like. Now, these are good practices. If I can cite Kenya as an example. In Kenya, it's like...
I didn't want to mention the country.
Okay.
Because that is where I saw this whilst I was there. Okay.
So in Kenya, for example, it's clearly defined, like 30%. And that you have 14, that's 28. 14 for women. Then you have the other 14, something like that. But then you have a percentage in that ratio where people, and in this new dispensation, everything is clear. And like my DG clarified yesterday, at the end of the day, we're going to have manuals for all these things that we are talking about, so that the manuals or the instructions will guide us as to how to go about it. And this committee, this honorable commission will, of course, a lot of deficiencies, weaknesses, and so on are identified. And we are taking note. And with the recommendations which I believe will come, either with or without, but all our experience during deliberations is even focusing on us. Yesterday there was a training in Brikama, for example, of contrast committee. And I called them, I said, you are watching us. And you are looking at the don'ts and the do's. For example, we have emphasized the contrast committee should do that, the CEO should do that. And in most cases, you ask for sections of the act that requires that. So that alone can be used as a training manual, so that you emphasize that the contrast committee, the head, the CEO, this is the mandate, and it's mandatory that he or she appoint members by way of appointment letters. So in short, these are some of the things that we are looking at. And to inform you that we have even started identify some of the weaknesses and having some corrective measures. So thank you, Honorable. It's a good observation, and we're working towards it.
Council.
Thank you. So the minutes went further. It says, question whether the company can integrate their system with KMC's already existing system, such as trade license system. They answered in the affirmative, provided the existing systems are with API's program. Now I just want to refer you to one of the letters that we went through yesterday in the first file, which is 1 of 20, and it's the letter dated the 21st January 2021, where it was in response to the letter sent by GPPA pointing out that they were aware, or they got information that Ecotech was working with KMC on this particular procurement. And in the response, the CEO, Seinabu Martin Sonko, had said, furthermore, I wish to clarify that KMC has never in any way worked with any of the bidders, including Ecotech, on this particular procurement. What we had with Ecotech was a free trial of the system they have, and any other interested bidder could have done the same for the council, and are still welcome to do so in the best interest of the council. This is in the response dated January 2021. So as at that time, Ecotech had already given them a free trial, would have probably worked with their system and whatever, they would have done their free trial. It was also not clear whether there was the same opportunity afforded to other bidders. Now this bid has come back. This evaluation is in March 2021, after that issue. So again, Ecotech is the company that knew to do a demonstration, even though the other bidder was not given notice of this. So let me just go through the rest of the minutes. Another question asked was how long the system could run offline. They informed members that it can last for 15 days. The committee also informed that apart from the licensed software, they can also work on the council's debt recovery system. They further provided a solution to have a tracking mode for market collectors in the form of wristwatches, which serves as an attendance register at the same time. The company reps also advised the committee for council to introduce IDs for market vendors. This can also help provide data and mechanisms for the KMC's GIS. At this juncture, the chairperson thanked Ecotech and informed them that they will continue the evaluation and get back to them in due course. They continued with their evaluation when Ecotech left, and the expert told members that what impressed him about 5C is that they are well advanced technology-wise. He added that they have to keep in mind what they want in the future, and especially if they need additional support somewhere else. Now you're talking about co-opting experts into the assessments, and
Yes.
How important is the experts' opinion in such procurements?
It's very important because, like I said earlier, in a controls committee you have 3 members. Now these 3 members may not be experts in the procurement that they want to intend. So here it is very important that they co-opt a technician to give that technical expertise, advice and the like. If I may give an example, if it is a complex, for example, construction, and among the key members of the contract committee there is no engineer, or if it is an IT, no IT expert. So it's important that the committee co-opt, and the law allows that even if it will require outsourcing or sourcing from the outside, it's acceptable by law.
But it's not mandatory to follow the advice of the expert.
It's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
Okay.
Yes, if you look at Council, if you look at 1.2.4, there was the same minutes that you were dealing with.
Yes, I was going to go through the rest of it.
Yes. At what point are you?
1.21.
Oh, okay.
I was going to 1.22, but
Yes,
proceed, please.
I just wanted to highlight the fact that in this circumstance, the expert gave an opinion in assessing Ecotech and 5C and indicated how superior 5C's technology was, you understand, in terms of comparison and all that. But then at the end of the day, he said the committee should look at what is going to be the best for KMC.
Yes.
You understand? Not really coming out to say, if, you know, outright to say, if he was to recommend, he would have recommended 5C.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my understanding of that.
Exactly,
paragraph, yes. In my yes, Councillor.
So let me take you back to 1.22. The chairperson opined that it has come to the point where the committee must decide which company to go with to deploy the service based on the information they have and the requirements of the council. She further opined that 5C is good, but equally Ecotech are also equipped with advanced technologies. She, however, opened the floor for other members to share their thoughts. The deputy mayor said they have seen functionalities of both companies, but Ecotech has proven that their system works more efficiently through real-time demonstrations during the presentation. So when I asked previously about the weight to be given to the demonstration, which was not previously notified to the parties, is because some of the members have placed weight on that and have, so because of that, Ecotech seems to have gotten a better, had gotten more advantage out of it. But let's go. So 1.2.4 that the chair mentioned says that the expert opined that they had to look at the capacity and what stage in technology the duo are applying. 5C has more than just what Ecotech has, and their technology is higher with the other countries they work with. But the committee, he said, should still look for what's best for KMC, he added. So would I be right in saying that what the expert is saying is that 5C has more in terms of technology than Ecotech from 1.24?
I think that is why the expertise is co-opted, so that that expertise advice will be given. But then to decide who the contract should be awarded to,
yes, they can,
should have been determined in the bidding document before. For example, experience and the like, they can indicate a maximum score and probably a minimum score, so that if you meet all the requirements, like 25 marks, you meet the requirements, but certain are lacking, you give 22. So at the end of the day, all put together will, of course, give you the rightful, the legal basis to make a decision.
Now, Mr. Sanya, would council be right in saying that Ecotech was given undue advantage? If you look at all of what we have discussed.
That Ecotech
was given undue advantage?
To me, if what they are saying as per the submissions, Ecotech was given due advantage.
Due advantage?
Yes, because according to them, Ecotech was allowed to, of course, do a presentation, sort of, when the others were not. And it was not even, if it was indicated and then others failed to do that. But that was not requested for, and somebody offered. And based on the offer, you want to use that as an advantage over the others. It's not acceptable.
So that is why it is captured in 1.23, when the deputy mayor placed reliance on the demonstration that was done by Ecotech.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
So 1.25, the chairperson said she has no doubts about the functionalities and capabilities of 5C, but she was convinced that Ecotech's system has provided all the solutions the council is looking for, and has even provided more options, and all of which has been practicalized during the presentation. So it appears that the deputy mayor as well as the CEO have given preference to Ecotech because of the demonstration that they have done during the presentation. She reiterated her belief that Ecotech has provided a solution which was good for council. The deputy mayor told members that this process has been dragging for months, and it was important that members reach a decision to award the contract as the council needs revenues to provide services. He added that part of the software Ecotech demonstrated their ability to monitor the staff behavior, vehicles, routes, etc., and this proves their competency. Following the deliberations, members finally approved Ecotech's bid as they were convinced that it was the most responsive solution that met the specifications and terms of reference, and as well provide more solution options that were not known to the council. The meeting was at this juncture adjourned.
Mrs. Sanya, would you say this statement to be 100% true? This last 1.29?
1.29, following the deliberations, members finally approved Ecotech's bid as they were convinced that it was the most responsive solution that met the specifications and terms of reference, as well as provide more solution options that were not known to the council. The statement may be correct, but the process leading to arriving at this may be wrong, because we have seen from the submissions that Ecotech was given certain privileges which were not set forth in the bidding document.
In the specification.
Yes. So the statements may be true, but the processes leading to this arriving at these offers may not be correct.
The reason why I ask whether it's true or not is because if in the bidding documents they ask that the bidders should demonstrate, that would have given all the actors equal opportunity to launch their service to the extent that they could have made this assertion, and this assertion could have been correct.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
I refer you to the letter dated 9th March 2021. It's from KMC to GPPA, where they have said that the Contracts Committee, having evaluated the bids received and in consideration of the financial and technical specifications, agreed that Ecotech fulfilled the requirements in the combined technical specifications. In view of the above, the committee has now approved the bid of the aforesaid company, which I now communicate to your office. Attached are relevant documents for your perusal. You confirm that that's what they sent to you?
Yes, I have seen the letter.
Now, in deciding whether to approve the award, would the documents that were sent, including the minutes, would they have been read through to see whether the evaluation was right?
Yes, the authority should have been, or could have been, more sort of critical in the way the whole process was submitted, and make an informed decision. We make our decision based on the facts as contained in the submission.
Now, your letter in response is dated the 17th March 2021, and you have said, having reviewed your submission, please be informed that the authority have granted approval to your evaluation report and award of contract to Ecotech for the public-private partnership procurement of automated revenue collection system for Carnifing Municipal Council on the following base for Ecotech: 2% for monthly current baseline total revenue collection, 40% for the total increase in revenue above the baseline prior to commencement of the contract. The authority's decision is based on the related attached documents and recommendations of your Contracts Committee in its signed minutes of the meeting of 1st March 2021, as per the powers bestowed on it by sections 47(3) and 49 A, B, D, E, and F of the GPPA Amendment Act. Now, it's signed by Mamadou K. Jallo for the Director General. Is Mamadou K. Jallo still with your institution? But he has said that the decision is based on the documents, including the minutes of the 1st March 2021, which we just went through, which shows that the Ecotech was given some advantage over the other bidder. Do you think that the decision is actually, it is right that the decision is based on that document as well? Do you think that the decision to approve was right, considering everything that we have gone through?
Actually, I think he has taken a decision, and I believe the decision that was taken was based on the submissions of the documents, as he said, and he was also relying on certain sections of the Act to make a decision. However, I think some of the issues that we observed here were oversighted, leading him to for his final approval decision.
Having gone through the documents as we have done right now, is this a decision that you would have made?
I may not finally give approval. Maybe I may write or ask for here and there before.
And made by your institution in respect of approving awards, do you think it's a capacity issue? Do you think that perhaps they don't go through the documents thoroughly as they should? What do you think is the issue?
Actually, it can be attributed to capacity deficiencies. Can also be to some of the challenges that we face as an institution, including the Gambian nature of being soft on certain issues and so on. And like I said, challenges, I think most of you here will agree with me that GPPA is being a deterrent to development, because they said GPPA will delay GPPA X, Y, and Z. And given our deliberations, you can confirm, and it's confirmed, that in certain instances, firm to take our stand as an authority. If we want to do exactly what the law requires, honestly, I think today it would have been a different, either GPPA with 10 people or the like, because the delays that are being talked about would have been more, because most institutions are not doing things correctly, 100%. Here and there, sometimes we are a little bit flexible in certain things, but notwithstanding, trying to ensure that we attempt to ensure that what we do is in accordance with the law, but we have weaknesses here and there. We have challenges.
Do you think that the challenges would be alleviated if you stand firm from the beginning of the procurement proceedings, in the sense that you insist that the procurement provide you with the procurement plan? Because that's the beginning, right?
Yes.
They provide a procurement plan, and then GPPA has an idea. They also have an idea of what their budgetary allocations will be in respect of procurement for the coming year.
Yes.
And be guided. They will know where they not need experts, etc.
Correct. Yeah.
So perhaps this is something that your institution needs to consider.
And like I said earlier, even from here, we've already started discussions on some weaknesses. And
Chairperson, I don't know whether the commissioners have any other questions, but with this particular procurement.
Mr. Sanya. During the discussions, I've been listening attentively and taking into consideration some of the points raised by my colleague. Do you ask for a company profile?
Normally, the company profiles will be part of the requirements that should be submitted with the bids. So at GBPA level, before we make a decision, we request for, of course, the bid documents with what they have. A company may be for the CEO not having a master's which was requested. We will verify that.
Okay, that's
Things
going
like
a bit
that.
too far. I am thinking of the sense that who are the shareholders of that particular company? Because it could have undue influence on the committee members. Fertilizer. My nephew or my niece is sitting in the so that's what I mean by a company
Exactly.
profile. Who are the owners of the company? Do you request that, or do you have in your forms that would declare the ownership of the company?
Yes, Honorable. That is why the form called 012, which is a declaration by members of the Contracts Committee. But then that is a declaration. We have seen instances where people will take an oath, swear to the Holy Quran, and yet they lie. We have seen that. So the law have provided for that one will take hands, but even as of the Contracts Committee must swear or must take an oath that X, Y, and Z and the like. So it's a requirement. So when we see that requirement, we believe it's just like somebody swearing and then you depend on whatever, and then we assume that when they declare, they will speak the truth.
My other question comes in the wake of expertise. If when do the POs invite an expert into their sitting?
That is determined by the Contracts Committee. It can be right from the beginning, which is very important, when the bidding document is being prepared, because the expertise will be very resourceful to ensure that the right specifications for the right good is in place. So it depends on the decision to co-opt an expert, depends entirely on a Contracts Committee.
Now, the reason why I'm saying this, we have seen, is it 5C being more responsive than the other one, but the contract was given to the other Ecotech. According to what I have heard.
Exactly. That is why, for me, I said at the beginning that the should have been clearly defined. Honorable, if I can give you an example. You want to buy a vehicle, for example. You want a vehicle that probably costs about 1.5 million, and somebody offer you a V8 which is over $8 million. We all know that the V8 is more expensive, but probably you cannot buy even fuel for it. So here you going in for the lowest one, which you can afford. That doesn't mean that the one that you have chosen, which is $1 million, have more qualities, and the other one obviously is more qualitative with a lot of facilities, but you cannot afford it. You cannot go in for that one. So being more responsive, I'm not saying that the contract should be given to the other five or the ECOT. Now, I'm just giving you an example. That
sorry to come in. Your example is based on the value.
Yes.
We are looking at, for me, I'm looking at the technical specs, which I guess was what was said or what determines them to state more responsive, not the cost of engaging 5C against Ecotech.
Now, again, that is why I said this should have been more clearly defined on what basis. Now indicating that 5-star is more responsive. Is 5-star coming up with requirements that we are not even requested for? Are they coming up with more advantages that we are not requested? So if they are not requested for and they indicate them, they should not be scored based on them. No scores should be given for extra or providing an extra something which was not requested for.
Okay. Mr. Sanyang, at what point does the PO inform the rest of the participant tender that they are successful or not successful?
Now, when evaluation is completed, the law requires that you debrief to the successful bidder that X, Y, and Z. But once you write to the successful, you also write to the unsuccessful bidders to tell them that their bids are not full.
Do you have cause to receive letters? Parties have bidded to certain contracts and they were never written for them to know their fate?
Yes, sometimes we do receive, but complaints are sent to in cases like that. GPPA level, we will write to say that, in fact, for us, for most of our responses, we indicate that approval is given, for example, to engage X, Y, and Z, but we advise to communicate to the unsuccessful bidders. Some of the conclusions of our letters will indicate that let them also communicate to the unsuccessful bidders and let them also allow the 10 days standstill period award the contract.
Yes, that is exactly why I was asking the question, because if the PO doesn't write to inform the unsuccessful bidders, perhaps they may not be able to file their complaints as necessary.
No.
And this is provided for in the regulations.
The law requires that
Yeah.
a 10 days
Yes.
standstill period be provided. And the law also requires that successful bidders should be communicated to. Once the successful one is communicated, the unsuccessful ones should also be communicated to.
So that they can allow for,
Exactly, yes.
for complaints.
And it starts from the day of the acceptance of or non-acceptance of the unsuccessful these things. Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Chairperson. I believe it's a convenient point to break.
Yes. It's already past 1:30. We and come back after 1 hour 30 minutes.